Okay, so I have a few announcements before we start Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 12, Episode 4 commentary recap. First of all, I wanted to tell you that I cut my hair. What do you guys think? I cut like 2 inches off. Do I look like an old lady? Is it okay? What do you think? By the way, it's nighttime. I'm about to go to bed. 2, second announcement. I learned how to finally do contouring on my nose. I haven't done it in this video, but I'm going to do it on the next one. And I want you guys to tell me if you think it makes my nose look better. I'm trying to make a straighter nose, okay? Because my nose is crooked looking. I can't stand it. All right. Oh, and so today I want to thank Janie, because I'm going to say, let's dish on it, which is what she came up with from my last video, instead of all the boring ways I always say, let's do this. Okay, so one big other announcement. Congratulations, Johnny Depp. You've been vindicated. Not an easy thing to do, so congrats. And did you guys happen to see the video that was rumored to have happened over the weekend? Johnny Depp supposedly went live on YouTube under a channel with his name, with his middle name, Christopher. And then he did this thing where he said that he felt that the jury had already made a decision. And, you know, he didn't say what the decision was, but he said something to that effect. And then all of a sudden the channel or the live ended, and then the channel or the video was deleted. And then, of course, over the weekend, he was in England playing with Jeff Beck. I bring it up because did any of you catch the live? I really trust the people who told me this happened. So I want to know, did any of you catch it? And do you know what exactly was said? Could you please comment if you did catch it? Because I was like, oh, that was gold. I would have died to have seen that over the weekend. Anyway, okay, let's move on to Beverly Hills. I'm like forgetting what my video is. One more thing. I did drop that gossip about Amber Heard's family attorney that was up against Depp. It is in my bonus audio from last Tuesday if you guys want to see it, okay? All right, so we open the episode of Real Housewives, and Lisa Rinna is talking about how her mom was attacked by a famous serial killer. Actually, she was stabbed and hit with a hammer by him. His name was David Carpenter, and he was known as the Trailside Killer. He used to attack women in San Francisco trails. He used a gun in a lot of his murdering attacks. He was just a rapist, a kidnapper, a murderer, and I mean, just a monster. So yeah, he was really, really scary. So actually, I was pretty shocked that Lisa compared it to Dorit's situation. To be honest, you know, when I read about Lois's situation with this man, like Lois really, truly, you know, she was so endangered. Like this man wanted to murder. He murdered all women generally in their young 20s. Really scary. Okay, so now I'm going to insert some gossip here. Garcelle and Sutton were at Ivy on Robertson with Denise Richards having lunch. So a lot of people were speculating. They weren't shooting the show, but a lot of people were speculating, like, were they trying to get her back on the cast again? Could be possible. I know they're all friends, though, so it could just be lunch. But I'll show you a quick picture. So then we get back to La Quinta, and it starts with Kyle calling for the Bloody Mary fairy. We all need one, by the way. I felt that it was very unfair that only Kyle have a Bloody Mary fairy. So originally, Crystal is supposedly going to brunch with Diana and Sutton, but then somehow Garcelle calls Crystal and convinces her to come to Kyle's La Quinta house so that they could discuss why Crystal flipped out the night before. And you know, it seemed to be triggered from not a lot. And she kind of went, I'm in an unsafe space, and storms out, wants to leave. And Diana's like her bodyguard. It's all very strange. Anyway, Crystal's like, okay, fine. I'll come over for 10 minutes and talk to you and the girls about what happened last night. More like production was like, you will go, you will talk about what happened last night. At this point in time, Garcelle seems to allude to the fact that she thinks Crystal has been assaulted in some way or sexually harassed or assaulted in some way. That's what comes across to me, is that the producers didn't really want to elaborate that. They definitely trimmed back probably what Garcelle was saying from the edit. I kind of could tell. But basically, Garcelle feels like there's another thing that's really at the basis of this feeling of being unsafe and these words of darkness and violation, and that are related to Crystal being somehow maybe sexually abused in some way. I really feel that that is what Garcelle is like. There's got to be something like that at the basis of this. Now, a lot of the fans have already speculated that, but they have thought that it had to do with her being an escort in the old days, and that maybe something happened with that. Now, she has explained that story. Basically said that she just was the receptionist at a company that did the advertisements for escorts, not an actual escort company like Madam prostitutes. But anyway, that's been flying around with people. Don't kill the messenger. It's just what people have been saying. Okay, let me back up. So before Crystal walks in the door, Erica Jane is on the couch and she starts blaming the couch on her problems, basically. The couch somehow was the reason that she had all these bad problems. She's like, oh, I hate that couch. I hate that couch so much. The couch, I mean, it's symbolic to the fact that her husband stole from people. I don't know, whatever. I was like, oh God, Pukeville. Anyway, then what happens is she's like, oh, and by the way, thank you for putting up with my wild animal ways. I was just like, what is she talking about? Wild animal ways? Please, could you be any more dramatic? Go put some of your underwear on and go dance on Instagram, Erica, and save it. Anyway, then what happened was, so you guys know that so far her whole narrative has been that she's been vindicated legally and that everything that she said was the truth and she's not implicated at all with Tom Girardi's situation. And she even says in this episode, we aren't even sure that people weren't paid. And, she said she couldn't talk about how sorry she was for the victims because it could be held against her in court or used against her, so she couldn't do that. No, but she could say, that she didn't give a shit about the victims. Obviously, that wasn't legally worrying for her, but what was legally worrying was showing that she cared about the victims or were sorry for them. It made no sense, just 0 sense, okay? And then she basically is saying that the victims lied about Tom Girardi. Now, to be fair, what she's alluding to is that Ronald Richards, who she watches like a hawk, as much as he's watching her, she's watching him. Ronald Richards mentioned that out of the $150 million of people saying they were owed money, that he was sure that they weren't all actually due money. Okay, now in that $150 million, we're talking about victims of Tom Girardi, lawyers that weren't paid by Tom Girardi, creditors like banks and stuff that he took loans from and didn't pay, and other people, okay? Just general other people. So the thing is that Erica grabbed a little tiny piece of an idea and used it to her advantage in the show. But the truth of the matter is the ones you guys know about, the plane victims and all that, there is no question that their money was taken out of Tom Girardi's, out of their client account with Tom Girardi. Also, all the other victims that you've heard about, the ones that have cancer and those people, there's no question he took the money, okay? The ones that aren't, they're not 100% sure of are more in the creditor pool of the bankruptcy. So it's wow, she is a manipulator. I wish people just had a little bit of a stronger reaction to her on the show. I'm really sick of everybody pretending that you can be friends on this show. It's I would rather see the better TV. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, someone said to me tonight, well, you know, Elisa Renna was excited about something you posted. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if Lisa Renna is excited about something I post. I say what I want to say. I'm not her fan. I'm not her friend. If I went to lunch with her tomorrow, I'd say it. And all these women pretending like in the old days that you can have a friendship is just nonsense. It's just BS. So cut the crap, ladies, and let's see some good TV. Okay? Really. I mean, it's one thing if you were in the first few seasons like I was, like, you know, Adrian and Taylor and I were, and, you know, we were really still trying to hold on to this idea that it's a reality show and this and that, and we could be legit friends. And that's just all BS nowadays. So it's like everybody knows. So like, and let's stop pretending like we all give a shit about each other when we don't. It's like so silly. Anyway, I just get that chip right off my shoulder. Anyway, so Diana and Sutton go to breakfast, which to me looked like production was being really lazy. Honestly, it looked like production gave Sutton access to their buffet and Diana and her were eating at it. I mean, it didn't even look like Sutton had breakfast brought in. It looked so dumb to me. It was like what is happening at this? Why is there a ginormous buffet of breakfast that just were brought into Sutton's room? Anyway, maybe I missed something. I mean, I wasn't fully engaged the whole time, but all I know is when I came back, Diana was putting Sutton down for liking bacon occasionally, and the table was full of like food that no one person would ever bring into their room. So I'm like, why is it there? And it wasn't like the hotel buffet. So I just was so confused by this. And I'm like, and I don't know if they were trying to make it like she was that pretentious to have all that food brought in, but like that's just dumb. And I just know Sutton didn't do that. So then we cut back to Crystal, and she's sitting with the women, and the women, you know, I don't know, they try to understand what triggered her. She doesn't really say. She's very convoluted about what she says, about what triggered her. She kind of blames last year and says, well, I'm still not over it. You just wouldn't accept my feelings, and I don't feel acknowledged, and it's still unfinished business. And Kyle calls her a bit of a hypocrite because she's like, why is this coming up now? I guess the idea being like just for TV, you know. And then Garcelle says, I feel like you set up Sutton, Crystal, with the storyline last year with the racist comment saying that Sutton was that girl that, you know, basically didn't see color or whatever. Well, Garcelle is coming to protect Sutton. And she was season. Sort of like, I think Garcelle in real life is a friend of Sutton's, and she felt like Crystal set her up, maybe because she heard rumors that productions put Crystal up to it or whatever. Like, it seemed like she had some backing in that thought process, and I don't think it came from Sutton. And so she was like, calls Crystal out on it, like, you didn't really feel that way about Sutton, you just did it for the show. And there's a lot of like wink happening I felt like in this episode, where the girls are like hashing out some behind the scenes stuff, but they can't say it, so they're kind of, you know, it's a little bit like, what the hell are you talking about? Usually when that happens, it's because there's stuff off camera that they're bringing into the, you know, on the show, and we don't understand it. We're not being like privy to it. So it sounds like convoluted and annoying, and what the hell's happening? Crystal suddenly goes like, well, you weren't there and none of you were there. And she was like, Sutton said something very dark, which started it. And you didn't see that, like, in other words, you didn't see that part of the show. And Kyle's like, I was sitting there the whole time. I didn't hear Sutton say anything dark. And then Crystal kind of alludes that how would Kyle know, because Kyle doesn't think like Crystal does or Garcelle does. And that's fair enough. But what's really strange is like, I mean, Kyle is not that tone deaf. She would know if Sutton said something that was really derogatory, I think. So, and then Crystal won't say it. She keeps like saying, well, it's a dark thing. And like, this is a theme throughout the episode that she won't say it. She calls it problematic. She calls it dark, but she doesn't say what it is. which was really annoying. Like, I know you guys love Crystal, but she annoyed the shit out of me on this episode. I was like, if all we have to work off of is this generic thing that you're gonna say with nothing to back it up, using like really odd word choice, and I have to sit for 30 minutes and try to like, imagine what you mean by it. It's like, I just wanted to like shut the TV off, and I was like annoyed. Good night. Good night, ladies. Good night, production. Boring. Like, are you serious? This is where we've come. Like, that someone has to go in and be like, well, she said, the thing. You know that thing. That thing? The dark thing. The thing. What thing? What are you talking about? Okay, I'm going to calm down. Peace and love and happiness, Dana. Deep breath, deep breath. Okay, so Diana Jenkins, I got some really strange gossip to tell you about Diana. So it turns out Diana owns an owl, which a lot of the people that are into conspiracy theories think is a symbol of Illuminati. Okay, I'm just sharing. This is like a sidebar, but just so you know. And so I looked into it because on the Patreon, we look into everything, okay? We look into it all. Sometimes I debunk it, and sometimes I better describe what it is that people are conspiring about. Sometimes I find I get to the bottom of the rabbit hole, and it's like, actually, I'm like, whoa, this one could be true, But in this particular instance, I looked it up, and look what I found. It was so weird, okay? The first image you're going to see is Diane Jenkins' Pinterest post about snowy owls. And their symbolism. There's also a picture of her pet owl. I think his name is Mello. And then look at the definition of what a snowy owl represents symbolically. Forget the Illuminati stuff for a minute, but just look at the definition, knowing the gossip about Diana. Like, what? Okay, if you missed it, it says the white owl feasted on the soul of all mortal men. Feasted on the soul of all mortal men. You know the gossip, just saying. It's a little weird, especially since she Pinterest the symbol, if that is indeed the same Diana Jenkins. But I mean, I thought it was very strange that she owns an owl and there was a Pinterest looking up the symbolism of an owl. So, wow. Okay, and then Garcelle announces to the group that her son Oliver got a job working for Lisa Vanderpump, which we knew about this. This was flying around Instagram last year. Everyone was really excited and thought maybe he was going on Vanderpump Rules. And some people were thinking maybe it would give a reason for Lisa Vanderpump to return to the show. Which, it's like, if you didn't know better, Garcelle's making friends with Lisa Vanderpump, and Garcelle's making friends with Denise. Well, she's been friends with Denise, but it's almost like, I feel like Garcelle and Sutton behind the scenes are like, well, if we bring Lisa Vanderpump back and Denise Richards, we could get these three girls booted from the show. And it'd be even better. Then we cut to this really awkward conversation between Dorit and PK, where he's like, honey, you need to get away from it all and go on a trip. And he suggests Mexico. And then they have a weird conversation about what TV shows he's allowed to watch while she's gone, because they watch shows together and she doesn't want him to watch those without her. So he's like, okay. And then there's like a weird confessional between PK and Dorit where she's like, you'll never leave me, right? And he's like, no, I'll never leave you. And she's like, oh, good. And I'm thinking, okay, sorry, I meant this filter for her treatment. Okay, so she has this electrical treatment, that's the filter. And basically she's forced, it makes electronic, like, I don't know, she zaps her fingers or something and her brain left and right. They describe the whole thing, but it's supposed to fix her memories in her head somehow. Anyway, she starts crying. What's the trigger? Of course, the safety of her children. I totally get that. The what if scenarios go through her head, or what could have happened. And, it really upsets her. And we don't really see this electrical thing helping at all, but that's what we watch on the show. Okay, I'm gonna lose this filter now. Okay, so then we see everybody getting ready for Sutton to have this big party for this Parisian designer, Alexis, who we see her try on this gorgeous red dress with a built-in cape, and the back has buttons, kind of like the front of the dress, but it's in the back. It's like really beautiful, very tailored. That was nice. I enjoyed seeing that piece. And then we see Diana Jenkins, and the producers are making her double down on the fact that she doesn't go in stores to shop. So you hear her stylist saying, I've worked for Diana for 15 years. She truly doesn't ever go in any stores. She's allergic to stores, and that she gets like allergies because of the dust in the stores and like stuff on the clothing and stuff. So of course, you know, it's for her health that she doesn't actually go into stores. Right. And the stylist is backing her up on this one, and production just wants to make sure everybody understands this. These are Fendi. Did you know? Fendi. Okay, so Diana makes a big stink that her past houses were designed by Ralph Lauren, and one was designed by Fendi, and yeah. There you have it. Brand dropping, copying the original. Okay. Oh, quick sidebar gossip. By the way, I'm not naked in this video. I just have a halter nightgown on. For all of you that think I'm doing this video naked, I'm not. Lisa Rinna got into it with a stylist named Patrick this week on social media and really acted like very unhinged. Basically, he texted her a threatening message, I guess, about like hearing that she was talking shit about him and that he was going to say really bad stuff that he knew about her, and in this text message on her cell phone. And then she reposted the text message on her cell phone with his phone number on her Instagram account, and basically was like, bring it if you've got something you want to say. But it almost seemed like she knew him, but she didn't know him, which is what makes this all the weirder. Like, I ignore phone calls I get on my phone from people I think I know, never mind people I don't know. So it was very weird. Then it gets even weirder. Lisa's like, it's this guy, Patrick, who's an entertainment attorney, who's attacking me. And it wasn't that guy. It was another guy. How did we know? We were following him on Instagram, watching what he was posting. So we knew it wasn't that guy. So she didn't even know who was doing it. And then the gentleman that was doing it went on his Instagram and made up a story that he had met with Lisa about a housewife show about men in LA. Like, instead of a housewife show of women, it was men. And he didn't say what network. Like, he made it sound like it could have been Netflix. It definitely wasn't Bravo. But I was told that that was a lie, that Lisa never met with this man about a TV show. So that whole thing he said was a lie. That's what I was told. And then what was the other weird thing? And then he started alluding that he knew secret gossip in Beverly Hills about Harry Hamlin. You know, really, he didn't say it, but he like basically was playing on this whole like, you know, rumor that Harry Hamlin, like his beard, you know, Harry Hamlin's beard. And so he kind of alleged that all of Beverly Hills knew about it, but he didn't say it. But anyway, it was really like, she doxes him, he doxes her. Oh, by the way, he posts her phone number on Instagram, so everybody could grab her phone number. I mean, you think Ramona posting Teresa's wedding invite was bad. Lisa Rinna's phone number went on Instagram. Anyway, she tried to make light of it. She was like, oh, look at all these beautiful messages I'm getting on my cell phone. But, you know, Lisa was like, oh my God, my cell phone, now I have to change it. That's such a horrible thing to go through. But it was like everybody doxing everybody. It was just strange. But from what I understand, she didn't know who he was. So then Kyle tells this touching story about her mom, Big Kathy, and how she took care of her with Kim in her last hours or days of her life. And she tells a really, well, I'll let you decide. She tells a story about how she almost drops her mom in the shower with Kim, and they all laugh, although her mom can't talk because she's dying. And but she could tell her mom was laughing. And that was a really touching moment that she had with her mom and Kim before her mom passed. Oh, and Big Kathy wanted to die at home and not in a hospice. And the reason this all came up, I forgot to say it, was that Lisa Rinna's mom was transitioning to the other side. And so Lisa Rinna was with her at a hospice, helping Lois move on. And it was very sad, but Lisa wasn't shooting. So this was the way that, Kyle was kind of explaining why Lisa wasn't going to this Parisian fashion designer's launch party at Sutton's, and she was telling her own intimate story. Right. Okay. So anyway, rest in peace, Lois. I was a fan. So now we're at Sutton's Parisian fashion party for her French designer at her store. And Dorit has this really bizarre moment where throughout the episode, she's kind of triggered, like being out in public makes her nervous, and it's kind of being demonstrated, and they show that in the episode. But when she gets there, she's like, why is there paparazzi here and no one warned me? My robbery just happened. And, it came off so odd for a few reasons. Number one, every store that has any kind of launch or opening in LA is going to have paparazzi and a red carpet. Like, you don't need to be told that, it's there, always. That's one. Two, it came off so strange because it was like, she's so famous that now she's going to have to talk to the press about a robbery, blaming it on Sutton. I was like, why wouldn't you just not go? Erica didn't go. Erica stayed home with her vibrator, and she was so proud of it. She's like, I am staying home. I'm staying home with my dog and my vibrator, and I'm just going to vibrate myself all night, and that's the best party that any girl could ever have, and I wish I could fix my AC unit because I don't know how to use the thermostat. And I mean, that's really Erica's storyline. For that episode. So Erica didn't go because she told Sutton to F off, and Sutton told her that she doesn't forgive her for the victims and how she treated the victims. That's really what went down. But Erica did do that whole thing I just said to justify why she was fine to stay home and not go to the store party. And then let's see. Kyle, it's so funny. Sutton disses Kyle so hard, but I think by accident, But she's introducing the designer guy, and she's like, Dorit designs, fashion. And then she skips Kyle. And Kyle not only is designing fashion, but she has her clothes in Sutton's store. So it was like such a diss, because it means that Sutton secretly in her mind sees Kyle's partner as the designer, not Kyle. And Kyle's just like the name that's like helping the designer get a claim. The women are kind of weak, their responses to things. They go sit in a corner of the party. Crystal is just basically, doubling down on her position, which is that Sutton said something problematic, but she doesn't want to say what it is. And Sutton just keeps saying, I want to move on. I want to move on. Let's just keep moving forward and not look back. And Crystal seems to be somewhat in agreement with that, and no one else is satisfied with that because they're just like, wait a minute, this girl is basically saying you said something that's, bottom line, very racist, right? And you're just being okay with it. Like, she's alluding to that. And so everyone's like, I don't get it. You do know this is on TV, right? And she's just she's trying to be like, oh, the higher ground. Never happening. Anyway, you guys, I would keep an eye out tonight because I believe the MTV Awards are tonight, and Beverly Hills has been nominated, and it's going to be the first time that Lisa Rinna has seen Kathy Hilton since all of the social media drama that happened between her and Kathy, where Lisa called her a racist, and Lisa called Kathy a racist and a homophobe, and Kathy said Lisa was a narcissist, and they went back and forth on social media. So this is the first time they probably have physically seen each other since that fight that aired out on social media. So stay tuned. I'm sure we'll get some cryptic Lisa Rinna posts tomorrow, although I don't follow her, you guys make sure you send them to me, okay? Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button if you like me covering Beverly Hills or all the things I cover. And please let people know about my channel and so they could find out about it. I heard I'm like on TikTok a lot, but I'm not on TikTok. So maybe the TikTok people might like this channel if you tell them about it. I don't know how to use TikTok. And then also, remember, you can get in the Patreon for $6 a month, and it does support me doing YouTube because YouTube ads don't pay really that much. And so the Patreon is sort of the backbone of allowing me to do this too, right? So anyway, thanks so much. Oh, buy a shirt. I have some really cool shirts. Check them out. All right, are you a nosy? See you next Tuesday like me? Join us.